Thanks for joining us. I'm Liz Kidantis.
And I'm Jim Grimes.
As we speak, Florida's Gulf Coast is being hammered by Hurricane Helene. The monster storm is just 150 miles west of Tampa and expected to make landfall north along the Big Bend region as a serious Category 3, possibly 4 hurricane. Yeah,
this is a live look right now over at Siesta Key as the eye is passing just off the coast of this barrier island. It's not far from Sarasota. This is a popular tourist spot, but not today. The rain and winds slamming Siesta Key's white sand beaches as we speak.
Here locally, our area is currently under a tornado watch as the strong wind gusts are already causing some isolated damage. This is footage of a tree that fell through a home in Martin County. Rescue crews running to help the people who were trapped inside.
And over in Port St. Lucie, roads are back open after 2 power poles were knocked over, blocking the street. This is happening in a residential area along Southwest Hamberlin Avenue.
And this is the view from across the state today. As you can see, Helene is bringing strong storms across Florida and lots of heavy rain to our area.
CBS 12 News has live team coverage. We have a team of reporters throughout the area. Our Danny Travis is bracing for Helene's direct impact along the Big Bend region.
But first, let's check in with the CBS 12 News Storm Track team. Chief Meteorologist Vitas Reed is here with Helene's latest track and more on the threat for tornadoes here. Vitas.
Yeah, this is a very strong storm as it continues to track towards the Big Bend region. We're looking at a very strong Category 3 hurricane, possibly to become a Category 4. It's only 5 miles per hour from that threshold if it gets up to about 130 miles per hour with its sustained winds. Let's take a look at the latest information from the National Hurricane Center. This is the 5 p.m. update. It's moving north-northeast at 23 miles per hour. Winds sustained. That means continuous blowing wind around that center of circulation at 125 miles per hour, gusting to 155. And of course, this is going to continue to track north. A lot of warm water to work with, and that's where it's strengthening from. So we're going to continue to monitor that very closely. The outer bands have been through issues spawning in many areas, tornadoes, and we've been seeing that in Georgia, Florida, even in our area. Earlier this morning, we had several tornado warnings, and we have some active tornado warnings currently on the western edge of the state. Cat 3 status at this time, making that landfall later tonight up around the Big Bend region, then continuing north up into Georgia, and with it, it's going to bring the heavy rain and the wind, and the ground is already saturated, so those big deciduous broadleaf trees, they are going to have a lot of problems with limbs breaking, taking down power lines, causing all kinds of issues, especially as it moves inland. So this is going to be a problem for not just Florida or the Big Bend region in the form of storm surge, flooding, and waves. We're going to see the winds and the flooding cause problems up in parts of Georgia as far north as Tennessee and the Carolinas. Tropical storm warning still extending across South Florida, including the Treasure Coast, our region. Now, the good news is that tornado watch has been released from areas from Palm Beach County south, but along the Treasure Coast, you're still under that tornado watch until 8 o'clock this evening. That's including Martin County, stretching northward up towards Vero Beach, Indian River, back towards Okeechobee. So we'll continue to monitor storms out there. We have a lot of clouds across the area and still some remaining showers in these rain bands that are pushing across the region. Active tornado warning just south of Tampa. So there's still a potential for some spin up in some of these storms as they continue to move north. Looking a little closer around here, what we're seeing is some rain showers along the I-95 corridor, stretching through Lake Worth Beach, Boynton Beach, and up through West Palm. Definitely some heavy downpours at this time. Wind gusts have been up to about 45 to 50 in some areas and some locations. I have a closer look at how long we'll be dealing with this type of activity coming up in my forecast.
Thanks, Vitas. As he just mentioned, we are just hours away from it making landfall along the Big Bend area.
CBS 12's Danny Travis joins us live from Panama City Beach in the Florida Panhandle with how preparations and evacuations went today. Danny?
Yeah, Liz and Jim, well, we've moved to Panama City Beach to put a little distance between us and Helene, though I do want to say we did spend the day about an hour south of here down in Mexico Beach, which is a community that's only now is almost fully recovered from a major Category 5 hurricane that hit there almost exactly 6 years ago, completely just devastating the area. And now Jim and Liz, they're facing the effects of what could be another just monster storm.
Almost exactly 6 years ago to the day, the lives of everyone in Mexico Beach were turned upside down by Hurricane Michael.
My parents have lived here through Michael. Michael was a lot for them. Their house was fine, but because they're on pilings and their house is newer. But I mean, one of our neighbors' houses literally split in half, and half of it was in her front yard and half of it was on the base.
That storm left scars on this small coastal community. A terrible time that comes quickly back as they watch Hurricane Helene approach.
We don't know what's going to happen, how bad it's going to be, We were here for Michael, so we know what it can be, so.
It is slightly nerve-wracking, but, Hurricane Michael was kind of as bad as it gets. So, this whole area was, completely devastated. So if it's less bad than Hurricane Michael, maybe it'll be okay, but, you never know.
Though not expected to be as powerful as Michael, doors and windows are all boarded up and down the coast in preparation for Helene, which along with high winds is expected to bring storm surge of up to 15 feet.
Spent all day yesterday moving stuff upstairs, trying to make sure everything was, putting boards on windows, making sure everything was settled for the hurricane.
And as always, some locals are choosing to ride out the storm at home.
If it goes more west, I'm going to be very concerned, but honestly, the way it's looking, I think we're going to be okay, though. Let's hope. I got a shop up the road here, so, as long as that thing's still there, I'll be okay.
Others choosing to evacuate, joining a long line of cars making their way out of town.
We're evacuating.
You said you're headed out of town. Where are you going? What did you have packed?
We're going over to Sandestin.
I'm with my family. We're going to go to Crestview. So there's a hotel there. We're going to go there for the night and then kind of wait and see if we have to come back or if we're allowed to come back or how the flooding is and all that.
Power company crews are already staged across the region, ready to get to work restoring power as soon as the storm has passed. And city leaders here have done what they can to prepare for whatever comes next.
But we do have paramedics on staff. We have public works on staff and on call. We've already cleaned the ditches as much as we can before the rain hit. We moved equipment out of the way. So we're here, we're prepared.
And up here in Panama City Beach, Jim and Liz, we're certainly feeling the effects of Hurricane Helene as well. I want to show you guys exactly what we're looking at right now here at the beach behind me. Just take a look at these waves. I lived in Panama City Beach for 2 years, and I've never seen anything like this. Now, our meteorologists tell us the storm surge out here about 1 to 3 feet, but these waves still crazy to look at, and you might even notice that this is even a family affair out here. We're seeing some couples, we're seeing parents even bringing their children out here, all just looking at the storm surge and all almost like we're doing right now. So as you can see, everyone is keeping an eye on Helene as it approaches the coastline here behind us. And of course, as we're hearing from our meteorologist, by tomorrow, all of this will be much far north. But right now, locals as well as ourselves are bracing for what could be a potentially long night. Reporting live in Panama City Beach, I'm Danny Travis, CBS 12 News.
Students in our area were home from school today. All of our local districts decided to close their doors because of potential impacts from the storm. Most school districts in our area have already announced that they will reopen tomorrow. Indian River County will announce a decision tonight at 6. We'll pass along that information as soon as we have it. As for our state universities, Florida State and Florida A&M announced they are canceling classes through the weekend. All University of South Florida campuses are closed through Monday. UCF, FAU, and UF are closed today, but are expected to reopen tomorrow.
While the eye of the storm is hundreds of miles to the west right now, those strong wind gusts are being felt right here in our backyard. In fact, a Martin County family was nearly killed this morning when a tree smashed through their roof.
Treasure Coast reporter Dylan Huberman spoke with 2 members of that family. He joins us by that home live tonight. Dylan?
Jim and Liz, was a scary scene here early this morning as the massive tree crashed into this home while a family inside was fast asleep. The mother and her son, who was trapped beneath debris, tell me they were fortunate to escape this mess with their lives.
It was a relatively normal morning on Southeast Cortez Street and Stewart. That all changed when Hurricane Helene's winds toppled a massive tree, crushing Catalina Correa's family home around 9 a.m.
Go to sleep. Everything is good. In the morning, I wake up and oh my God, the trees.
Correa's first thought was of her children. Her daughter was okay, but her 13-year-old son, who was on the couch when the tree hit, narrowly escaped death.
It was horrifying. I was sleeping in the living room and I was just laying down sleeping Next thing I know, I get hit in the head by a piece of drywall.
All the ceiling is down, and I scared because I can see my daughter and my son.
Neighbors came quickly to the rescue while emergency responders were on the way.
They rushed in and lifted the piece of drywall that was over the couch on top of me. And I just kind of they helped me out.
The fact that they weren't injured is really incredible and frankly miraculous. A tree like that falling onto a home is terrifying. I can only imagine how scared they were when that tree fell on top of them.
Somehow, after this crazy experience, the brave boys' only injury was a scratch from a nail.
No stitches, it's just a Band-Aid.
And everyone that got out of that house is counting their blessings.
Very, very lucky. I'm pretty sure if I wasn't on the couch, I would have gotten crushed. And if my sister was a little bit slightly off where she was sleeping, I definitely would have crushed her as well.
My daughter and my son is good. I am good, and God take care of me.
Unfortunately, Martin County Fire Rescue says the house is a total loss, but they also said the Red Cross is coming to help find this family a place to stay while they try to figure out their next steps. In Stuart Huberman, CBS 12 News.
Some residents in Port St. Lucie have felt the effects of strong winds resulting from the storm. CBS 12's Al Peffley joins us live on Southwest Hamberlin Avenue with the latest there. Al?
Liz, some of the people here on Southwest Hamberlin Avenue in Port St. Lucie have had quite a day. This morning around 9 o'clock or so, they say there were very strong winds outside, and they toppled 2 wooden power poles right on the street. One of them is right there behind me. It was literally snapped off at the ground level. And then there is another one just about 3 houses down that also is partially collapsed over someone's yard over there. Fortunately, neither of these power poles landed on anyone's roof. But one guy feels quite fortunate, he says, because even though a power line landed on his roof did not catch fire. He says it could have been much, much worse. You would imagine that there would have been quite the roar outside when these wooden power poles came down. One guy says he really didn't hear anything until suddenly the power went out, and he looked out, and this power pole was partially collapsed outside his home. Another guy, he said he heard a very strong banging outside going on at the time. He also says he believes this area was under a tornado watch or warning when this occurred, and he's not so sure, though, if perhaps a tornado or very, very strong winds close to a tornado were responsible for bringing down these 2 wooden power poles. The people out here say they lost power around 9 or so, and I just checked with some of them a few minutes ago. They say they still don't have their power back on. They say FPL told them they'd try to get out here by mid-afternoon to start replacing these downed wooden power poles, but so far they are still waiting. So again, a lot of worried people out here wondering just how long they're going to be without power after these 2 wooden power poles came down on their street. Live in Port St. Lucie, Al Peffley, CBS 12 News.
All right, thanks, Al. Well, Helene may be located all the way in the Gulf of Mexico, but the wind from the storm is churning up the Atlantic waters.
And that is drawing a few spectators and some daring surfers to our beaches.
Our Victoria DeCardenas joins us live from Juno Beach with the scene there.
Yeah, Jim and Liz, if you would have spoken to us just 5 minutes earlier, we actually had some sunshine coming in throughout the day. But in the last 5 minutes, like I said, it looks like we've gotten some of those feeder bands. The beach has completely cleared out, but those wind gusts, we saw that they were going up to at least 50 miles an hour today. We were hit by the sand continuously today, but that didn't stop some beachgoers and some surfers from taking advantage of this rough surf. As Hurricane Helene makes its way to Florida's panhandle, those in South Florida are taking advantage of the windy conditions.
We're just chilling, having a good time. It's beautiful out here, actually.
Many locals sitting on the beach enjoying the cooler weather. Others enjoying the big surf at Juno Beach, despite warnings from officials about dangerous conditions.
The bigger the waves, the better.
Windsurfer Dan Sullivan has been taking advantage of these tropical storm-like conditions for the last 32 years. He and his friends meet up when storms make their way to Florida.
We're texting each other, we've been watching the storm, for the past several days and trying to figure out whether we're going to go East Coast or West Coast.
And Helene is a massive hurricane with tropical force winds extending 350 miles from the center of the storm. The wind in Palm Beach County reaching up to 35 miles per hour, with gusts up to 55, giving kite surfers a chance to catch some major air. And although surfing with these winds are highly advised against, surfers say it's perfect conditions.
South wind is really good. North wind is good as well, so it's blowing down the beach. We can sail straight out. That's really what we want to do.
Locals like Joe Lawless say the change in weather is welcomed, and it won't stop him or his chocolate lab Hudson from taking their 3 walks a day on the beach.
Hudson really enjoys it. He likes the change of pace. You can't keep him out of the water being a chocolate lab, but days like this, I don't like him going in.
All right, and back out here live, we're giving you a picture of what Juno Beach looks like right now. In that minute 30 that this story was airing, the rain has picked up yet again. That surf is really rough out there, guys. So if you do plan on making your way out here, we do want to let you know the Juno Beach Pier is closed. We saw some cops blocking off the entrance to it. And right now, it's probably not the best time to come out here, but we have seen people coming and enjoying the rain and this wind. But again, it's best to observe it at home and stay away from the beaches if you can. Reporting live in Juno Beach, Victoria DeCardenas, CBS 12 News.